Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
I don't mind that.
It's addicting, huh?
Yeah.
Dancing by that.
All right. So this particular month is celebrated in the state of Kerala in South India, especially in a place called as Kottiyur. Everyone can hear?
Yes.
So it is a 27-day festival, and the festival is dedicated singing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and also to Lord Shiva. So Kottiyur, this is in Kannur district. It's a remote place. The state of Kerala is proclaimed by the Department of Tourism India as God's own country. And there is a reason for it. Most of you know the reason, right? No? Okay, I'll tell you the reason. So in Kottiyur, please remind me if I forget to tell you the reason why it's called God's. But in Kottiyur, the Supreme Lord appeared in his Trideva form, the form that he takes as the controller of the three modes of material nature. So Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Why did he appear there? To save a king. Why did they appear there? The three of them. They had to come to save a king. The king was being punished, and it could prove to be very severe. The punishment could be very severe. So they wanted to stop that from happening.
And Prabhuji, who was punishing the king?
First of all, would you like to know who was the king?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this king was Kali Raj, King Kali. So King Kali loved this particular tract of land because there was no jurisdiction over this particular tract of land. The sea would often come in and cover this entire tract of land with its water, and whenever the sea would recede, the sea waters would recede, Kali Raj would create all kind of confusion there. So the great personality, Parashura, he did not really like kings who are notorious in nature. In fact, he had made his mission to put a stop to all such kings, put an end to all such kings, and an end to their influence. Everyone knows Parashura.
Yes, sir.
He has an axe. That is to subdue the kings who were criminally minded. So Parshuram came there, and very soon, now Parshuram, he had extreme powers. Parshuramji was the original propounder of extreme games. Very powerful. He had subdued 21 generations of kings over this planet, one after the other. So this was just one king, but this king was not an ordinary king. This king was the personality of Kali. Very powerful. However, Parshuramji had him on his knees very soon and was about to give him the ultimate punishment. So the three devatas appeared there and they said, Maharaj, Parshuram Maharaj, please let him be. There are certain tasks that this personality also has to fulfill. Allow people who are evilly minded an opportunity to realize their mistakes. See, for evil to leave our mind, for negativity to leave our mind, first of all, we have to have an opportunity to know that we are in the negative state of mind. Then one can improve. So, as soon as one is put into a positive state of mind, a negative person will not be able to deal with it immediately. So, first there has to be counseling. So, hence, Kali is that personality. Creates a facility, a counseling center for people who find it difficult to practice religious principles. They come to Kali's counseling center. What is a Kali's counseling center called as? Kali Yuga. All right. And in Kali Yuga, there are certain devotees who are great counselors like Srila Prabhupada and others. They come and do their counseling. Most of us, we are resident members of this community. And somehow we have found this opportunity to improve in Kali Yuga. All right. So, Parshuramji, he agreed to let Kali live. But he told Kali, never ever come to this tract of land. And he told the sea, never ever cover this tract of land with your waters of ignorance. So the sea receded back, and the tract of land was Parshuram's land. It is called as Parshuram Kshetra. So the southernmost aspect of this Parshuram Kshetra is Kerala. It was reclaimed by God because Parshuram is God. Hence it is called as God's own country. So when the people in Kerala make that statement, they are banking on a very ancient historical perspective. It's not just an ordinary statement. There's a lot of history behind it. So this place where Parshuramji defeated Kali and the three devas, they appeared, is Kottiyur. In ancient times, before Kali Yuga, in one particular kalpa, this is also the place where Daksha Yajna was being performed. So Daksha Yajna is a famous episode from ancient history wherein Lord Shiva's father-in-law, Daksha, he has very serious issues with Lord Shiva. And because of this animosity that he had towards Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva's wife and his daughter Sati, she, as a mode of penance, she had to give up her life. So that act of Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, is worshipped by all generations of people. So this is supposed to have happened during the month of Vaishak, during this month or previous month, depending on the calendar that we follow. Okay? Vaishak basically would be May, June times, or April, May. So only for 27 days is this festival celebrated in the memory of Lord Shiva feeling separation from his wife Sati. So there is a river there which manifests during this time, early rains. Bhavali River. It is Bhavali River.
Bhavali or Bhavali? Bhavali.
Prakrit Bhavali, Sanskrit Bhavali. Okay. The local people call it Bhavali. The sophisticated name of the river is Bhavali. Vibhal, Shiva's emotions manifested in the form of that river. So, yes.
Would you mind going back just a little bit where the land that where the water receded was Parshuram's area, and after that, what happened with Sati? I'm sorry, I lost track.
After that, we went back in time
Oh, okay. To Sati.
because this was Kali Yuga, no?
Yes.
So we went back in time to Satya Yuga many, many years ago. Yeah. So that this is happening in Satya Yuga. So why the land is called as God's own country, that we understand from this incident of Parshuramji giving a lifeline to Kali Yuga and reclaiming that land from the sea. All right. Now we are trying to understand the historical perspective of this tract of land from the time of Daksha Yajna. So much before this incidents of Parshuramji interacting with Kali Yuga, long before that, Sati was here at his father's sacrifice. Okay. So since then, there is a temple of Lord Shiva where Lord Shiva is worshipped only for 27 days. For the rest of the 300 and odd days, the temple is closed. It always remains closed. That's the practice in Kottiyur. So in Kali Yuga, much after Parshuramji reclaiming the land, but many years ago, hundreds of years ago from the present time, there came an ardent devotee of Lord Krishna who is present in Kerala as Guru Vayurappan. So he arrived from Dwarka in a deity form. So this great devotee of Lord Guru Vayurappan is called Punthanam. Punthanam Nambudiri. So he is from the Nambudiri family and his name is Punthanam. The Lord would be very happy to hear him recite prayers of appreciation for the Lord. Now Punthanam
Appreciation of
for the Lord. For the Lord. So Ponthanam came to Kottiyur during the month of Vaishak. So the temple was open. So every day in the evening, he would sit in the temple hall in front of the altar, and he would read from the Srimad Bhagavatam every single day. So he asked the people there, "What should I read?" They said, "Sir, where are you?" Because Puntanam was an ardent reader of the Srimad Bhagavatam, they asked him, "What are you reading nowadays?" So he said, "I'm reading from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam." So they said, "Please, you read from the 10th canto." So he started reading from the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 60. So in this chapter, Vyasadeva describes that Krishna is in Dwarka with his wife Rukmini in their palace. Hundreds of servants are engaged trying to serve the Supreme Lord and please him. Servants and maidservants. So Rukmini Devi, looking like a beautiful goddess, her attire, her presentation was very divine. She was very happy that Krishna is with her. All the servants also very, very excited. So everyone is paying a lot of attention to in serving Krishna. So Krishna is resting on his bed in Rukmini Devi's palace. His head is on a beautiful pillow. His feet are outstretched. And he has a beautiful smile on his face. So a servant comes and stands by his headstand and starts waving a fan. In those days, the fan is called as chamara fan. It is called chamar. Chamar fan is from those times, it is supposed to be the top quality brand of fan. Chamar. All right? We don't find that brand anymore. Top quality. So there were a lady, a maid servant was waving the fan at Krishna. Rukmini Devi becomes so overwhelmed with emotion that she takes the fan from her hands very gracefully, requests her to give the fan, and she stands in place of the maid servant and she starts fanning Krishna as if she is Krishna's maid servant. So Krishna is suddenly, where has my wife gone? So he's wondering, should I report missing persons? So Krishna looks at his feet. Generally, she would be there. Then he looks up and she finds her standing there fanning him. And Rukmini Devi is looking at Sri Krishna, and her eyes are simply, they seem to be like bumblebees wanting to drink the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet, a lotus face. So, very poetic moment. Krishna looks at her and he has a naughty little thought in his mind. He says, "My dear princess, you had so many wonderful options as a young girl. There were so many wealthy kings. powerful people. Every single one of them. Beautiful in appearance, great character. They all wanted to marry you. Your father wanted you to marry one of them. Your brother was very insistent on having you married to the great Shishupal. Why did you accept an unsuitable husband like me in marriage? Look at me. I don't even have my own kingdom. I have run away from Mathura. They still call me Ranchod, the coward. Being afraid of all these great personalities. Although I did bring you with me, but I was so afraid of all of these personalities that I took shelter on an island in the sea. I knew that all of these wealthy people are hydrophobic. They have hydrophobia. They will never cross the sea and come to the island. So I was sure that I am safe. And since then, I've never put my feet on land again, on mainland. Again, just look at my reputation. I could have gone and asked your father and convinced him, but I ran off with you. And people still, they say that Krishna, he ran off with an unmarried girl and made her his wife. You are coming from such a respectable family. My origins are unknown. Some say I was born in a prison cell. Others say that I am the son of cowherds people. And even here in Dwarka, I'll never ever be king because my number is like only if 100 other people ahead of me, they abdicate the throne, then I could become king. So it's a far off chance that I can ever be wealthy. In fact, I own nothing. And there are some people that worship me. Do you know who worship me? Only the paupers worship me, the poor people. The rich never ever worship me. The rich people don't like to worship me. But the poor people, they come and worship me. So I am poor. My worshippers are poor. So actually, you have a very dark future. But I'm known to be a just man, a just person. Maybe I convinced you on social media. Maybe my profile there seemed to be very alluring. And that is why I did not see all of these considerations. You did not look into them. So, out of short sightedness, you have accepted me as your husband who lacks every good quality and is glorified by beggars. Better you should have married some prominent warrior. Then you might have been happy in this life and in the next. Your brother Rukmi hates me. Rukmi's friend Shishupal hates me. They're always trolling me on social media. Just to prove a point unto them, cut down their pride. I ran off with you. Actually, at heart, I'm very detached. I don't care about money. I don't care about prestige. I'm not really interested in all of that. In fact, I'm not made out to be a family man, also, a family person, because I'm a very detached person. You could also say that I'm very much self satisfied and hence I'm indifferent to others. I never ever find these material affairs interesting at all. Therefore, I think you made a mistake. Maybe you should rethink. You could let me know what your thoughts are. So, when Krishna is speaking all of these words, Rukmini Devi, she was in deep trauma. Krishna being Krishna, he was just focused on his narrative. So, he did not notice that every single sentence of his was affecting Rukmini. And Rukmini being Rukmini, she never let Krishna know that she was being deeply affected by his words. So she held everything inside her. So since there was no response, Krishna felt that he could be a little more harsh. And Rukmini did not know, did not feel that she should show her emotions. So she let the scale of harshness go up and up and up. Finally, when Krishna looked at Rukmini, she was a complete mess. Her eyes were swollen red. Tears had fallen down and made a pool all around her feet. Her cheeks were like wet, very wet with her tears. She could hardly breathe. She could not see anything because her eyes were full of tears. She had her head down, looking at the ground, as if wanting to be swallowed by the earth. She just didn't want to be there hearing all of that. And she was shivering. And when it was not possible for her to hold back all her emotions, that created such an effect on her consciousness that everything went dark in front of her eyes. So she really had a breakdown. She collapsed. She fainted. When she fainted, Krishna realized, oh my God. Krishna realized, oh my God, OMG. He was like, what did I do? He manifested two more arms. So now he became four-handed. Easy for him, lucky for Rukmini. Can you imagine having two more hands? So he just manifested two more arms. Got up from the bed. With two hands, he picked up Rukmini in his arms. And with the other two arms, he was wiping off all the tears, consoling her, and spoke soft words to her. He said, Rukmini, Rukmini. After that, they made a song in Bollywood on that. Rukmini, Rukmini. I'm so sorry. Your eyes are so lovely. I wanted to see some kind of negative emotion towards me in those eyes. Anger. I wanted to see some harshness on your face. You're always so placid, you're always so content. I wanted to see you rebuke me. I could never leave you. When Rukmini realized that Krishna would never leave her, that is when life returned back to her. That is when she felt that it's worth living. She opened her eyes again. Krishna is, he appears to all of us. We may not have noticed it, but actually, he has appeared to all of us and wanting to help us understand a lesson. That you look at, did you see? Did you see this interaction that I had with Rukmini? Rukmini could have felt that she is a chief queen and hence I'm giving her the most attention. So when she realizes that I could leave her, if there were an iota of such a feeling within her consciousness, that must have been washed away by now. That is Krishna telling all of us. Were we tuned into that? If we were not, no problem. We can always hear the recording. It is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is a lesson for all of us. If there's an iota or if there is some feeling that we are special in relationship to Krishna, then Krishna says, well, you are special, but your thinking that you're special is actually a hindrance for you. So you have to get rid of it. Continue being special. Never feel that you are special. So Rukmini now feels a little relieved. Now, have we forgotten that this was being read by Punthan in the temple of Lord Shiva? Did you forget that?
Yes.
If you did forget that, so I'll remind you. That is where we were. We were with Punthanam. Punthanam ji, Nambudiri Path. Yes? So he reads the 10th chapter of Bhagavatam. Afterwards, in this chapter, Rukmini ji, she proves to Krishna that actually his words are true. However, not in the way that he thinks he could make us understand. She gives another perspective, the correct perspective to all that he says, to all that Krishna has said. Yes. So after Krishna consoles Rukmini Devi, everything is back to normal. Rukmini Devi also speaks her mind. Like Rukmini Devi, one of the statements that she made is that it is true. When you say that you have complete disinterest in material affairs, it is very much true. Because if you had interest in material affairs, then you would have made it a point to show that how powerful you were compared to Shishupal and the others. You only came there because I requested you, and that was your intent. Your intent was never to be the number one on social media. That was never your intent because that is not your interest. So when you say that you are self-satisfied, your very action, which you presented in a different way, that very action proves that you are simply interested in reaching out to people who call out to you. It's not about numbers. Krishna is not interested in fame. So Punthanam finishes that story. In the olden days, they would have their own books. Temples would rarely keep those manuscripts for the simple reason people, when they visit temple, they think that they have God's right to be there and take away anything that is in the temple. They feel it's a rightful claim. Have you ever experienced that? Going to a temple and feeling that it is one's rightful claim to anything that's at the temple? Like in India, uh, especially in North India, people, they go to the temple. No, 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 no. Uh, okay, that is there. Every single person that goes there feels that it is their birthright to take prasad. They'll fight. In fact, they'll make it a prestige issue. हमको प्रसाद नहीं दिया. It's not that they're anxious for prasad. It's that, how dare you stop me from taking something? This is my rightful claim here. A temple is supposed to give food. You never gave us food. How is that? Now, if somebody takes, let's say, a book from the temple, so what? क्या होता है? अरे भगवान की संपत्ति है, हम भी तो भगवान के ही हैं. True? So that is how things disappear from temples that do not have any policies. So after some time, we had to keep all of these things under lock and key. All you have to say is that this book was read by a great saint who had mystical powers. Within 2 days, the books would be in parts, with each people having a portion of that book in their house. Why? Because we have a mystical connection now with the saint. No one feels that let it be there for all generations to come. No. Now that would be too much to ask for, right? That was never supposed to be our birthright, to let things stay for future generations to come. Krishna says you have to fly your own plane, right? So we are only interested in our own selfish goals. So temples wouldn't have manuscripts. People would carry their own manuscripts with them. Typically, today when people come to temples or to programs, they come खाली हाथ आए, खाली हाथ जाएंगे. खाली हाथ जाते नहीं, लेकिन खाली हाथ जरूर आते हैं. You know, they come as if, oh, everything is available at the temple. In the previous days, if you think of your ancestors, they would come with their little book. It could be Durga Path, Chalisa. Do their prayers, take it back with them. In fact, they would get their agarbatti from home, they would get their kumkum from home, they would get all the rice or akshata from home. They would bring that in the little packets, the potlis, right there in the temple hall, completely unconcerned about everyone else. Open it right there, do their thing, repack everything, and leave. Correct? But then came certain perspectives. Don't worry, we will provide you everything. You at least come to the temple, because people are not even coming to the temple. Right from the time you leave your house till the time you go back, we will take care of you. Everything. You just have to come. So in Punthanam's time, he would get his own manuscript, his own copy of the Bhagavatam. Now Bhagavatam would be available in leaflets, so you'd only carry the 60th chapter. After the recitation was done, he would wrap it up. 60th chapter means it would not just be the 60th chapter, the 10th canto, one part, like that. He would bring it, wrap it up, take it back. The next day would come to continue the recitation, and you'd look at the bookmark. So you would have placed a bookmark at the end of the 60th chapter. The bookmark would be at the beginning of the 60th chapter. So Punthana would wonder. I remember reading the entire chapter, but the bookmark seems to be at the beginning of the chapter. So maybe it's an indication. So it's you read that chapter again. Again, he would say, Krishna was there in Rukmini's palace. Rukmini would fall down. I cannot do that now. Neither can you participate in it. Puntana was doing that. So I'll just say that he did it again. He repeated it again. So the entire 40 minutes he was doing that. At the end, he closes the book, wraps it up in his cloth, picks it up, leaves the temple. So the whole month of Vaishak. So third day, comes the bookmark is again at the beginning of the 60th chapter, the end of the 59th chapter, the beginning of the 60th chapter. So being a simple person, he doesn't really, he is happy just reading. So if the bookmark is there, he's like, okay, let me start from here. He doesn't have a marathon like a chapter a day or something like that to be completed. It's good, one should do that. But he did not have something like that. So you'd again begin, imagine we doing that. We have to complete it in an entire month of Kartik. And if the bookmark would go back to we are like, who's doing that? Who touched my book? I remember this. And somebody else said, Prabhuji, Mataji, the bookmark is at the beginning of the 60th. You were not there yesterday. I finished the 60th chapter. Well, Punthanam is not from our times. Either we are lucky or he is fortunate, whichever way you look at it. So he goes back to reading it the third. And he doesn't make any issue out of it. He closes it. He doesn't look around and say that, hey, today I finished, okay? No one touch my book. No. He is not even sure that the next day, I know it is going to be again at the beginning. Not even that. Very happy to have read the chapter. Lord Krishna teasing Rukmini leaves. For the entire month, this is happening. The 27 days of the festival are coming to an end. So now Puntanam Ji is planning where he's going to go next. He's kind of thinking about it. So on the last day, he's again reading chapter 60. The bookmark is right there. So he finishes reading the chapter, gets up. Some devotees were there. They're like, oh, Pumji, what are your plans? And he says, tomorrow I'll go north and have darshan of the Lord here. And sometimes as you are talking to devotees, your body is in reflex mode. You start walking someplace. Typically, it is the exit door or the way to the prasadam hall. Typically like that. So he takes the exit door. They leave the temple. The devotees disperse. Puntanamji is very happy. He's going home. Suddenly he realizes his hands are empty. His book is in the temple hall. So he retraces his steps back to the temple. The temple door is shut. So now he's wondering, my book is there. Is there anyone here who could help me? Please open the door. Let me. So he's looking around. Now in those days, doors would have cracks in them. They would not really be tightly shut. You couldn't do that. They were like these huge doors. So when you try to shut one against the other, there would be some crack. But he tried to look through the cracks. Can I see somebody inside the temple hall? Call out to someone. The temple hall is closed. Maybe there's somebody there cleaning the temple hall. He's not able to see much. You can only see one side of a temple hall. So then he looks through the keyhole because he hears voice from inside. He knocks on the door. heavy doors. So he says, all right, let me look through the keyhole and see if there's someone inside. He calls out to people also, but heavy doors, thick walls of the temple. He feels his voice is not reaching inside. However, he can hear someone talking from inside the temple hall. So he looks through the key. How many of you have been to old temples or even to these uh, homes like palaces from, let's say, a century ago? If you've ever been to those palaces, they had huge padlocks, big keys, typically, because the bigger the padlock, the stronger it would be. Correct? So the keyhole was big enough to have clear view. So he looks through the keyhole. First, he puts his ear to the keyhole and he hears somebody reading 60th chapter of the Bhagavatam. He's like, okay, someone is reading the chapter. Then he looks through the keyhole and he sees water sprouting. He's like, is there water in the temple hall? A spout there? Then he looks carefully. The spout is coming out of a bunch of hair. He looks more carefully. Then there's a snake around that bunch of hair at its base. Now he's having goosebumps. He tries to look, like really look through the keyhole, up, down his gaze. He realizes it is Lord Shiva personally reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. My God, someone here has dressed up as Lord Shiva and reading the 60th chapter. But the voice is so melodious. It seems so divine. I've never heard such a voice. He sits down right there. And for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it takes to read the entire chapter, 15 minutes, he's sitting by the door with his ear to the keyhole, listen to that recitation. And at the end of the recitation, when the chapter comes to an end, the narrator, he hears the narrator speak. All he's seeing is the backside of the narrator. You can look at that bunch of hair, the spout, the snake, the back. So the narrator's back is towards the door. So then the narrator says, so Devi, how did you like the recitation of the 60th chapter of the Bhagavatam? And a female voice says, Prabhu, it was very nectarian. Mahadevji personally recited the 60th chapter. Devi is saying that. He said, that is not an impersonator, it is Lord Shiva himself. And Devi is Parvati. He's shocked. And Parvati says, I always love to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. Who says that? Parvati. Lord Shiva says, ditto. I totally agree with you. Enjoy my recitation. She says, yes. After all, you're my husband. Lord Shiva says, okay. Please be more truthful now. She says, actually, Punthanam's recitation was much more sweet. When Punthanam hears that, he says, oh Krishna, oh Janardhan. He's shocked. When somebody brings nice prasad for you, you're not expecting, what do you say? Hari bol? If they don't get prasadam, you're like, Hari bol? Yeah. So you can relate to Punthanam's expression, right? He's like, oh Krishna, oh Janardana. Everything is silent. He's like, what happened? Where did they go? Why are they quiet? He looks through the keyhole, there's no one there. His weight is against the door. Suddenly the doors open because of his weight. Previously they were not opening. He falls into the temple hall. There's no one there. He realizes that Lord Shiva and Parvati, he had that divine vision, or he had heard the divine voice. And he realized how glorious Srimad Bhagavatam is. He offered his obeisances to Lord Shiva and his obeisances to Mother Parvati. He went and offered obeisances to the Srimad Bhagavatam, picked it up, and as he was walking out of the door, he was thinking, this is my concoction, so bear with it. He was thinking, very soon in the future, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada is going to help people have similar opportunities, just as I had, to hear from Mahadev ji. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also we can hear from Mahadev when he's speaking to the Prachetas. Personally we can hear words. The sound has manifested in the form of the alphabet, script. So indeed, it is a great blessing for all of us to have this great work of literature, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, I would want all of you to pull out your phones, go on the internet, and search for Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12, chapter 13, verse number 18. Till the time you do that, if someone doesn't have a phone, they can share it with their neighbor. Oh, the neighbor can share it with them. 12, 13, 18. 12th canto, 13th chapter, 18th verse. In Google search, just say SB 12.13.18. SB, Srimad Bhagavatam. So most probably you'll come to Veda base. That would be the first option. Isn't it? 12.13, 13.18, 18. Okay? So there's a beautiful verse about the Srimad Bhagavatam and the devotees who are attached to Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will, yes, please.
Actually, when I was listening to how this body was listening to Bhagavatam, did that not show that God is omniscient?
That's a good point.
He's everywhere.
Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Wonderful. 12, 13, 18. Thank you. All right. So we'll recite this verse and also recite the translation. All right. First, I will do it and then you can repeat after me. Is that okay? Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnava
Priyam Yasmin Paramahansam Ekamamalam Jnanam Param Giyate.
Yasmin Paramahamsayamekamalam Jnanaparam
Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam नैष्कर्म्यमाविष्कृतम्
तत्र ज्ञानविरागभक्तिसहितं नैष्कर्म्यम् आविष्कृतम्
तच्छृण्वन् सुपठन् विचारणपरो भक्त्या विमुच्येन्नरः
तच्छृण्वन् सुपठन् विचारणपरो भक्त्या विमुच्यते नरः.
Translation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana. Yes, please.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana.
It is most dear to the Vaishnavas
It is most dear to the Vaishnavas
because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramhansas.
because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas.
This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work.
This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work,
Together with the processes of transcendental knowledge,
together with the processes of transcendental knowledge,
renunciation, and devotion.
renunciation, and devotion.
Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam,
Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam,
who properly hears and chants it with devotion,
who properly hears and chants it with devotion,
becomes completely liberated.
becomes completely liberated.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Stop here. Thank you very much.
Beautiful lecture.
Thank you. So, any comments? Any questions?
So, Prabhuji, it was Parvati or who kept putting it back so that she could keep hearing chapter 6 again.
I'm also trying to figure that out. It seems there is naughtiness in many divine characters. They like to be a little naughty. It's not only Krishna who tries to do things in peculiar ways. It's either Shiva or Parvati here who's doing that. Yes. Oh, by the way, Punthanam also saw some weird characters called Bhutaganas there. So they were also very eagerly listening. So next time in Bhagavatam class, if we get an opportunity, maybe we should try to see if we can come up to the level of the Bhutaganas while you're listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Sorry. Yes.
Prabhuji, we tend to seek attention. What to speak of devotional service, as you mentioned in the Katha, how Krishna is, as you gave the message that Rukmini he didn't want her to feel that she's special because she is a queen. Even if we are in the devotee circle and doing some extra service or whatever, we do seek attention from devotee itself, what to speak of Guru and Krishna. And even in a regular life, we do seek attention. Is that not a part of a human being?
So seeking attention, is it essential for human existence? Seeking attention is all right. What is also important is self-satisfaction. So we should also try to find self-satisfaction, because being satisfied with oneself is very essential as a human. To have that kind of confidence in oneself, that the way this creation has been put forth is perfect. I would like to explore things in life. However, the way this creation is perfect in itself. So if you are giving attention to yourself, then most probably we may not be paying much attention to how others are And if everyone is paying attention to themselves, in the sense that not that they are uh, self-centered, not like that, but realizing that they're very wonderful creations. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Complete and perfect units, having full facilities to express themselves and having complete opportunities to accept reciprocation.
So being dispassionate and being content, probably.
Being content is what I would root for. If being dispassionate helps you to being content, all right. But being content is helpful. Being contented need not necessarily mean being dispassionate. Is it all right? Just as, let's say, um, how do I explain it? Okay, uh, a, a jar full of water. So the jar is completely full. However, it still has some weight. It still has mass, which is going to make it uh, create some impression in this creation, leave some impression there. So, however dispassionate we are, we cannot completely erase our imprints. So, accepting that, so being contented is helpful.
So being satisfied without the tinge of pride will be helpful, right? Because feeling special of doing some exclusive service, we are seeking attention.
Yes, if trying to seek attention or being affected by pride helps us feel wholesome, like healthy and wholesome, that's perfectly all right. I would like to meet somebody like that. I'm really trying to. I'm. That is my search. I would like to meet someone who has some pride and feels wholesome. Somebody who has pride always wants to look out for somebody else who can notice that pride. Needs followers. So it would be helpful if somebody can point me in that direction. However, as I stated, if you find being proud or if you find seeking attention uh, a good means to be self-contented, to be self-satisfied, why not? The goal is to be self-satisfied. However, if it is not helping us do that, then we should be graceful enough to let it go.
You
Or
have to take like a natural course. You have to come to you.
yes, there also has to be analysis, because if things happen just by that natural recourse, then not everything is going to be is not everything that happens to us is going to have a positive effect on us. So there has to be some analysis. For example, if I'm under a cliff, then in the natural course of things, a rock can fall on me. But that is not really helpful for me.
Yeah.
So I have to analyze that situation too. So let it fall. That's the natural course of action for the rock. But me being under a rock,
You need to do something.
I should see if that is helpful or not and move out of the way.
Self-analysis.
Analysis. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Isn't it the same temple where Narayana Bhatta wrote Narayana, the condensed version of the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Do you think it is the same temple?
Yeah,
Then maybe you could be right.
yeah. Guru Ayappa.
But this is Lord Shiva's temple in
Yeah.
Kottiyur.
Oh. Oh, okay. This is not a Guru Ayappa. This is Kuttiyur. I was thinking it was Guru Ayappa.
I'm so sorry. I did mention it Kottiyur, right?
Kuttiyur, I said Kuttiyur, but
Bhavali,
right.
that river.
Guru Vayur Shri Hari Krishna.
Right.
What is it?
So is this temple still open only 27 days?
Always, only 20, every year, 27 days a
7
year.
days a year.
In Shiva temple, Sri Bhagavatam is recited.
He recited the Bhagavatam there.
But do they have that tradition now?
I don't think he established any tradition. He would love the Srimad Bhagavatam, so he had his own manuscript always with him.
So that shows, even though this is read in Lord Shiva's temple, that shows unity. Like whether you're wife enough or Shiva, you come together.
It's true. It's like, am I going to say that let's say I have two children, and one is an engineer and one is a doctor. Do I have to say that they come together and thus we are united as a family?
Well, that's different because that's more like you're looking at it in the career point of view. This is the spiritual. I mean, he read it at the Lord Shiva temple. That's considered as a spiritual. That brings unity. I don't think it really matters whether.
Okay, let's look at it this way. Let's take the same example that I was trying to give. The child that is trained in engineering would be able to deal with those issues. The child that has been trained as a doctor would be able to deal with the issues from the field of medicine, and we have enough for them to be occupied, isn't it? So the activities are going to be different.
Yeah.
However, as a family, they're always united. It's not because they come together for family functions, therefore they are united. All right. So Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, they are always united.
Right.
However, if there are differences between the two siblings, then they feel that they are different.
I see it as one. Lord Shiva and Vishnu and Mahadeva. It's one. They're all one.
That's a good perspective, I think. If you want, you can read more about it and see if there's some diversity too. All right?
Yeah.
Because did you want to say Brahma? Because you said Shiva and Mahadeva, so it's almost the same. You said Shiva, Vishnu, and Mahadev. So, so Mahadev and Shiva are the same personalities,
That's what I
right?
meant to say. Lord Shiva.
Just the two of them.
No, they don't. That's Brahma.
Did you want to say Brahma?
Yeah, I'm saying as a whole, the Trinity is as one. Like Lord Shiva.
And
Brahma.
is that helpful for you? Because they may have a different opinion. So can we look at their opinion too? Like Shiva's opinion is there in the scriptures. Brahma's opinion is also there in the scriptures.
Right.
So it is good.
I'm still searching.
Yes, it is good. So as I said, there could be some diversity too.
Yeah.
So there is definitely some commonality. There's diversity too. The only way we can understand it if we have more information of the three. Yeah. So we all have. We just if we use our time, find time, not use our time, but find time to delve a little more in this analysis, then there's a little more clarity. We've heard of diverse opinions, right? Brahmaji saying something about Lord Shiva saying something. We've heard of it, just as we've heard that they are all one. So now if we take out time and do some research, then we would have direct evidence. Is that okay? Yeah. So I would encourage you to please do it. All right. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? It's 8 o'clock, so we'll stop. Yes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, Kirtan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय। जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।